Citi Prime News at 12 midday. Updates you on all the running stories and connects you to the newsmakers.
Citi News.
It's midday. Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to the Citi Prime News. We are live from our studios at number 11, Dr. Martin Loop in Adabraka, Accra. My name is Ajua Tinkrama Domina. Arrested. Still in this package, Electricity Company of Ghana restores power to parts of Ashanti region after vandalization of 8 of its pylons.
Were able to string one side of the line and then repaired one side of the broken pylons. Any future occurrence. So as we speak, we've been able to restore power supply to all affected communities, and the work was completed late last night.
And later,
to rest assured that there are lots of technocrats. Lots of these ministers are not technocrats. They don't even have the technical know-how. It's the technocrats at the ministry who guide them, the directors and chief directors. So as for the work, rest assured it will go on smoothly.
Private legal practitioner Martin Pebu cast doubt on impact of Parliament's delay in approving President Akufo-Addo's ministerial nominees over anti-LGBTQ plus AMPAs. Please stay with us for details of these stories and more in the next 30 minutes. Remember, this bulletin is live on Facebook on Citi 97.3 FM. We are also live on all our partner stations across the country in the Western region. This is Premier 100.5 FM in Takoradi, Beach 105.5 in Takoradi. In Abunu region, you can find us on Greener 95.9 in Sunyang. In the Ashanti region, this is Orange 107.9 FM in Kumasi. In the Volta region, you can tune into Global 105.1 FM in Ho, Adanu 107.7 FM in Adakluwaya. In the Northern region, this is Diamond 93.7 FM in Tamale. In the Upper West region, Westling 88.1 FM. In the Upper East region, Source 100.1 FM in Boko. In the Northeast region, this is Scarp 101.3 FM. Please stay for details.
Citi Prime News at 12 midday. Updates you on all the running stories and connects you to the newsmakers.
We're grateful you could join us this afternoon. We begin from the Savannah region, and the Bole District Security Council in that region is currently convening a meeting following a clash between two groups that resulted in a setting ablaze of some homes and properties. 3 individuals have been arrested for the alleged involvement in the Dastardly Act. The incident arose subsequent to a ruling by the High Court in Tamale regarding a dispute between the Jahori people and the Bolerua. We'll provide updates in this matter in our subsequent bulletins. But let's stay on attacks because a 35-year-old member of the Osuman Environmental Protection Task Force, Noah Ofe, has lost his life following an attack by unknown assailants. The group is reported to have been attacked in Esuaba in the eastern region on Wednesday, March 20, upon their return from patrolling an oil palm farm. 3 other members of the group were hospitalized after sustaining gunshot wounds. In an interview with Citi News, the State Secretary of Ochiman, Daniel Foriata, refuted claims that the task force was attacked due to the provocation and asked that justice should be served.
The road, they were ambushed by unknown assailants and shot at. In the process, a 35-year-old Ofe Noah lost his life, and 3 of the task force members sustained various degrees of injuries, are currently being treated at the Eastern Regional Hospital in Kufuridua. So that is what happened. the Traditional Council has asked the police to do a thorough investigation. We're giving them our full cooperation to investigate the matter and find the perpetrators. And we are hopeful that the police will be able to do its duty to arrest the perpetrators and bring them before justice. As far as we're unarmed, it's a law-abiding group. They were shot at without any form of provocation. We do not know the motive for these shootings. They have not attacked anybody or dispossessed anybody of their property, as other media houses have reported.
That was the State Secretary of Chairman Daniel Oforiatta. Away from that, the Poultry Farmers Association is calling for more attention as the government begins implementation of Phase 2 of its Planting for Food and Jobs program. The association emphasizes the need for accurate data collection to better reflect the industry's needs and challenges. Despite the government's assertion that all food sufficiency targets for 2023 were met except for poultry, the association's call highlights the importance of focusing on this sector for future agricultural development. Here's the Management Committee Chairman of the Poultry Farmers Association, Kwame Ntim Dodu.
Planting for food and job is a good policy, but we only see the benefits when the implementation and sustainability is based on enough available, verifiable data. I believe coming out with this policy and having in mind that it will help the Ghanaian poultry farmers and Ghanaians as well will mean that the government needs to have a database on all poultry farms, their capacities, that is the number of birds the farms can take or accommodate at a point in time, and the number of birds available and possible future expansion of these farms by the poultry farmers, and then new entrants. So when we have this data, then we know that for every day, if you have 5 million birds in Ghana, 5 million birds, poultry birds in Ghana will consume maybe 10, 20 tons of maize, assuming. Then you can plan that how many days are in a month, in a year. So when you are targeting maize production, you are targeting this quantity for the birds, poultry birds alone, before you go to other livestock. And then you come to the human consumption. As it is from the first Planting for Food and Jobs, there is always the bumper harvest. When we see the maize on the market, it tells everybody there is maize on the market.
Kwame Ntim Dodu is the Management Committee Chairman of the Poultry Farmers Association. The Electricity Company of Ghana, ECG, in the Ashanti region has restored power to parts of the region which witnessed power outages following the vandalization of 8 of its pylons. Some unknown persons on Tuesday, March 19, vandalized the ECG high-tension towers by removing bolts and nuts from the bases, forcing 8 towers to fall. This led to several communities experiencing power for the past 48 hours, power outages. The public relations officer for the ECG in the region, Benjamin Obeng Entry, tells City News that although power has been restored to the affected communities, security officials are hunting for the persons behind the act.
Once the line got damaged, or should I say the towers got damaged, when we went to site, we noticed that it was a double circuit line, which means it was 2 lines. So we need to look at how best we can restore power supply to all affected customers. So since Tuesday to yesterday, Thursday in the evening, our sub-transmission line maintenance team were able to string one side of the line and then repaired one side of the broken pylons. So as we speak, they completed the work yesterday evening and all customers are back on supply. So those who afforded the opportunity to take time to restore the 8 fallen towers, like we will try to reconstruct the pylons as well as weld the bolts and nuts to prevent any future occurrence. So as we speak, we've been able to restore power supply to all affected communities, and the work was completed late last night.
That's the Public Relations Officer of the Electricity Company of Ghana in the Ashanti region, Benjamin Obeng Entry. Now, the National Disaster Management Organization, NADMO, says it has begun extensive engagement with residents likely to get affected by the spillwater from the Wager Dam, advising them to relocate to higher ground. The Ghana Water Limited outlined that the spilling process would commence at a low rate to minimize its downstream impact, but the actual rate would be dictated by the incoming flow of water into the dam. In light of these measures, the Director of Communications at NADMO, George Aisi, expressed optimism that the adverse effects of the spillage will be mitigated this time round, despite the persistent threat posed by recurring spillages.
When the Ghana Water Company is about to do the spill, they engage NADMO, especially at the district level. And so NADMO is fully aware of that. As a result of that, we have informed the people living downstream to evacuate if need be, so that, we saw how it affects them almost every year when the spillage is done. Most of them have built close to the buffer or even entered the buffer. So they are inundated by the flood water. So we get community engagement and sensitization in partnership with the assembly so that people will move to higher and safer places to avoid any possible inundation.
George Aisi is Director of Communications at the National Disaster Management Organization. Let's bring you some more stories this afternoon. A private legal practitioner, Martin Pebu, says the suspension of approval of the new ministers and deputy ministers of state by the Speaker of Parliament, Alban Bagbin, will not have any negative impact on governance. Alban Bagbin on Wednesday suspended the approval process as a result of the president's failure to accept the anti-LGBTQ+ bill. The Speaker says until a pending application before the court seeking to restrain him from continuing with the approval process of the new ministers is heard, Parliament cannot approve the nominees. Private legal practitioner Martin Pebu says the Speaker's action is justified.
But the substance of the matter is that the Speaker too is justified because there's a matter in court seeking to restrain the Speaker and Parliament from proceeding with the approval of the nominee ministers. And so once that matter too is in court, the Speaker is justified in not continuing with that process. It's law. So let's go through the legal process. When it's done, sure. And for those who are worried, some will say, oh, but the government business, those ministries need to go ahead. In the first place, rest assured that there are lots of technocrats there. Lots of these ministers are not technocrats. They don't even have the technical know-how. It is the technocrats at the ministry who guide them, the directors and chief directors. So as for the work, rest assured it will go on smoothly. It's not that these nominee ministers are the best brains that we have, and so if they don't go into the ministries, those ministries will collapse. No, that's not it, right? Yeah, so there should be no fear, there should be no panic, no alarm. But coming to the matter itself, if the president, if it's the case that they think at all costs this process should be hurried, then in law, there's what we call abridgment of time, right? So they can apply to the Supreme Court to abridge the time and some other things so that there will be an expeditious trial of the matter.
Well, Martin Pebu also says that although the interlocutory injunction applications before the court in both instances have not been granted by the court, the decisions taken by President Akufo-Addo and Speaker Alban Bagbin are in order.
We have what we call the substantive case. So you hear the writ, the summons. So the summons, even that alone, even if you don't add an application for injunction, the summons alone is sufficient to cause the president to say, look, the matter is in court, let me wait. Because it is contempt when a matter is in court and then you go ahead and do something that renders the court case useless, even if there is no application for injunction and even if no injunction has been granted. Okay, let's repeat. Under our laws for contempt, when a matter is in court, whether there is an application for injunction or not, or whether the injunction has been granted or not, there are certain things that if you do and they touch the core of the case before the court, that is to say, by the time the court is going into the matter, you as a party, you've already taken certain decisions that will make the court sitting on the matter a foolish case, that will make the court sitting on the matter a waste of time and everything. That is contempt.
You heard Martin Pebu. He's a private legal practitioner. You're still listening to the Citi Prime News broadcasting live from our studio here in Adabraka, Accra. When we return, Ghana faces imminent threat to water supply over illegal mining activities. Please stay for the details.
Citi Prime News at 12 midday updates you on all the running stories and connects you to the newsmakers.
The month of March is Heritage Month on Citi FM and Citi TV, and we will be celebrating it in grand style with the theme Imagine Ghana, Discover the Unknown. We will discover the story of our people and customs, places, food, music, and fashion. Stay tuned to Citi TV and Citi FM every weekday to learn Guinean historical facts, heritage, and traditions with the on-air series on Breakfast Daily on Citi TV at 9:30 a.m. and on the biggest conversation on radio, the Citi Breakfast Show on Citi FM at 9 a.m. from the 1st to the 31st of March. The Heritage Month on-air series is proudly sponsored by Miss Cookie Spices. No peeling, no blending, just scoop and cook. Other exciting activities for the Heritage Month 2024 will include the evolution of High Life Music, a High Life Music expose on Citi TV and Citi FM, curated music on Brunch in the City on Citi FM, What's Cooking, special features on Citi TV, the Heritage Quiz on the Traffic Avenue on Citi FM. Catch the Heritage Caravan Diaries and Moments from the 3rd to the 10th of March on the Heritage Caravan. And the big one to crown the Heritage Month celebration, we will treat ourselves to delectable, authentic Ghanaian cuisine, music, dance, and many more at the Back to Your Village Food Festival from the 30th to the 31st of March 2024. Don't miss all the education, fun, and excitement on the Heritage Month 2024 this March, only on Citi TV and 97.3 Citi FM. The Heritage Month 2024 is powered by Citi TV with support from Citi FM.
Citi TV is live on DSTV, GoTV, and HD+. On DSTV, find us on channel 363. On GoTV, we're on channel 117, and on HD+, get us on channel 108. On a digital TV, run a new search, but take note that without an antenna, you cannot access Citi TV. Citi TV can be accessed on any free-to-air digital box like the GoTV and HD+ boxes. Citi TV, it's your world.
Citi Prime News at 12 midday. Update you on all the running stories and connect you to the newsmakers.
You're welcome back. Let's take you to one of our major stories for this afternoon. An environmental NGO, Arocha Ghana, is predicting doom for the country's water production over unregulated mining activities around water bodies. The Ghana Water Company Limited has been forced to shut down several of its treatment plants over galamsey activities, despite efforts by the water company to draw attention to the impact of these activities on water production. Illegal miners continue to conduct their activities with impunity. Now, Deputy Director at Arocha Ghana, Daryl Bosu, speaking to Citi News as the world marks International Water Day today, says the country has a lot to lose if we do not protect our water sources.
There's already several decades of empirical research that has shown that mining and pollution associated with it leads to a lot of health risks from heavy metal contamination of water bodies. Then again, the absence of water in communities will also have implications for all of us, for domestic use, also for industrial use. I mean, you remember in 2016 when the Itawam water treatment facility was affected due to a blockade along the Daintree River, the whole of Accra virtually came to a standstill because in Itawam people couldn't go to the hospital, workers couldn't go to work, hospitals came to a halt because all the water. So, I mean, in terms of what we are going to lose as a country, I see every sector of our economy suffering significantly if the water crisis really becomes real. At the moment, the pollution is there. We still have water flowing through our taps, so we don't seem to care. But it is going to come to a head very soon, and we are all going to feel the punch. And I think that we better start now doing something about it than what we have done so far.
Daryl Bosu further urged the citizenry to rise up against any activity in their communities that threatens access to water.
I'm proud to say that I have not seen any commitment on the part of government now to do anything about it. The kind of posture we've seen from our government has not been helpful. I'm rather counting a lot on the power of the citizens to demand their right to safe and good water. And that is something that we are all entitled to. It's a key part of the aspirations of the Sustainable Development Goal. And I want to see communities rise up more and stop any activity of government-sponsored community mining or any mining activity that is going to expose them to water. As we speak, I know about communities in our Tronsu, in the Western North region, who are now struggling to keep away Ghana Bauxite Company from polluting their water from some effluent from the bauxite mine. And so is the case for several communities who are now struggling to get water. And we need to bear in mind that when there is no water in our community, it is the women and the children. And I mean, I'm saying this based on our social upbringing and the way our communities are structured. There is the women and the children who are going to suffer the brunt of all of this. So for me, I think that citizens need to rise up. Our leaders are failing us, and I believe that we can take this challenge on and then deal with it ourselves.
Daryl Bosu is the Deputy Director at Arocha, Ghana. Well, still on this, activities of illegal miners continue to hamper the daily operations of the Ghana Water Limited treatment plants in Achimoda, Chebi, Bunsu and Osino, all in the eastern region, as the company's treatment plants now operate for 9 hours instead of 24 hours due to the worsening state of raw water sources. City News' Neoni Amati Kanaku visited the Osino water station, met illegal miners mining just about 200 meters away from the extraction point, a situation which has forced the Water Company Limited to shut down the plant.
When City News reached the extraction point for the Ghana Water Company Limited at Osino Treatment Station, the low lifter, the machine dedicated to extracting raw water from the Brim River for onward treatment, had been shut down due to the activities of illegal miners. To our surprise, a Shamfan was actively engaging in illegal small-scale mining, popularly known as Galamsey, just 200 meters away from the extraction point. More than 8 people were busily working at the site as the sound of the Shamfan disturbed the whole neighborhood. Maxwell Boachi lives just a couple of meters away from the Brim River, close to the extraction point of the Osino water station. He tells me that he built his first house 40 years ago using the Brim River, but now the raw water cannot be used for anything meaningful.
They
have succeeded in destroying the town because all available lands have been degraded, and this is the situation in which we find ourselves now as a community. Our children are mostly at risk. I've been going after people who come here to mine, but I'm exhausted now. I built this house over 40 years ago, before this one, but now where is the river?
According to residents, the illegal miners operate a shift system as they mine day and night. The assemblyman for Osino, Opoku Dixon, says they have exhausted all avenues in the Galamsey fight.
Very worrisome because the people are continuing mining at the place where we are just draining our water from, but we are still working towards it. Even yesterday, for instance, I went to our DC complaining about the same issue, and this issue is above my control, so I always take on any authority from them. So
he tells me plans are far advanced to mobilize the community for a face-off with the illegal miners who are operating within the buffer of the Ghana Water Company treatment plant.
Yes, that one day, I'm even thinking about that. Even that's the most reason why even my dad here is complaining about the same issue. It is too worrying.
Osino Water Station has the capacity to pump 100 cubic meters for treated water per day, but is now only doing 60 cubic meters. Out of the 24 hours designed for their equipment to operate, it is now engaging only 9 hours a day, as the current 3,000 NTU turbidity of the raw water can damage Ghana Water Company Limited's equipment, as opposed to the expected 500 NTU needed to pump raw water for treatment. According to management of the Ghana Water Company Limited in the Eastern Region, its installations at Akemoda, Chebi, Bunsu and Osino water treatment stations are seriously at risk.
I've been experiencing turbidity of more than 5,000, 7,000, so you can imagine. So when it happens like that, it's like then the silt in the water is such that, as we say, like some people will say, oh, ice kinky. So you cannot use the water. So that is the situation there.
At risk.
They are at risk. You see, for us, the concern is the quality of the raw water, which, I mean, when which is getting bad, or it is getting to the worst situation, it means we have to increase the cost of production, especially with chemicals. Then we're also looking at the quantity of the water. You see, if at a point in time we don't get the raw water, we cannot produce.
That was a report filed by Citi News' Eastern Regional Correspondent Neoni Amate Kanaku. But one more story on this water issue, because the Ghana Statistical Service says about 6.5% of the population travel more than 30 minutes round trip to obtain drinking water. The findings from the 2022 Ghana Demographic and Health Survey indicates that 32% of people in the northern region did not have adequate drinking water. Also, about 8 in every 10 persons in Ghana were using untreated water from unimproved water sources. The findings were made available as the world commemorates World Water Day today on the theme Water for Peace. The Assistant Chief Statistician Godwin Odejebi, speaking to Citi News on the matter, says the ultimate goal is to ensure that everyone has access to water in the near future.
At the national level, we recorded 19.1% of the Ghanaian population who do not have enough drinking water in the month preceding the survey. We asked whether at any point in time, the last month preceding the survey, whether you do not have enough drinking water. Across the region, there are with Northern region recording the highest percentage of the population who do not have enough drinking water. That is 32.1%. And now those section water outside the premises, once you go out to fetch the water, there's a likelihood of this contamination if you don't take care of the water, cover them well before bringing them home. So I think what the measure is to ensure that in each household they have their water on premises. That is the ideal one, so that they don't go out, travel a distance of 30 minutes or more. Before you bring the water, it has somehow been contaminated with debris and other things.
Assistant Chief Statistician Godwin Odejebi. Let's do some sports now. Manager of Ghana's 3x3 basketball contingent at the 13th African Games, Dr. Eric Opoku-Antwi, has pinned Ghana's loss to Nigeria in the women's division quarterfinal on technicalities and inexperience. Ghana blew a 5-point lead and ended up losing 17-19 to Nigeria in overtime to crash out of the competition. The game was tied on 17 points at the end of regulation, but Nigeria's Isioma Onyawa scored a jump shot to sink the African Games host nation. Speaking in an interview with Citi News after the loss, Dr. Opoku-Antwi highlighted the areas that cost Ghana a place in the semi-finals.
I think for both teams, everybody came in with a dogfight. They put in their 100%. Fortunately for the guys, we were able to win. Just a bit of hard luck for the ladies. And we are learning from it. It is a good experience for everybody. I think a bit of technicalities and inexperience here. We should have used more of our drives when we were 4 minutes left on the clock and Nigeria was in foul trouble, meaning that every foul will get to shoot 2 free throws to close out the game. The biggest positive was everybody giving in their 100%, from Fred to T-Boy to Henry and Kabu. Everybody giving in their 100%.
Dr. Opoku-Entry is the manager of Ghana's 3x3 basketball contingent at the 13th African Games. And that's how we wrap up today's edition of the Citi Prime News, which has been live from our studio in Adabraka, Accra. For more news, please visit citinewsroom.com. My name is Ajua Tinkrama Domina. Many thanks for your company. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Citi News. We speak first. Reach our hotline on 0302 224959 and get interactive on Facebook, Citi 97.3 FM, and on Twitter at Citi 973.